Was it Mr. Stout?
Starrett.
Sterry. I apologize for that. You mentioned a couple numbers, and you were reading quick because I know we got a timeline back there, but I wanted to know a little bit more about that. The one was you mentioned 196 folks were denied based on a background check. And what I wanted to know was what period in time was that for?
That was October of 2014. All of these statistics are available on our website. They are directly from the state police. They're not things we wrote. They're graphs created by your state police. These numbers are very common. Every month it's the same thing. Almost 200 people denied. In many cases, nobody arrested. But most of those people who are denied with no justification. And as I said, in this bill, when that happens, there are no protections for them. So you go to a store to do a transfer, the person's denied. That could take 6 weeks. The dealer now has to inventory that gun. If he tries to return it to the owner and then it's delayed, then the process starts all over.
And I just want a couple factual things. One more follow-up. And then you mentioned that there are a lot of these folks who are denied in error.
Yes.
Out of those 196 people in October, how many of those were denied in error, and what were those errors for, and where did you get the information?
As I said, the information comes from your state police. Here it is. It's available to you. Most legislators receive this from the state police every month. Here is their chart. So, October 2014, 196 people denied. Prohibited persons who were felons, arrests 0. People who were actively wanted at the time, the total number of people who were arrested there was 4 out of a total of, let's see. Okay, I'm not sure if I have, here it is, October 2014, wanted people. 126 people were actively wanted at the time they were denied the firearm. Of those, 4 were arrested. All right. All these other people were denied because of mistakes in their name, and now, as you know, troopers are being sent out to do an investigation on every denial, and I will tell you, those troopers are calling me mortified by what they're having to put people through, when, in fact, the vast majority of these denials are mistakes on the part of the state police.
And one last follow-up. And so, Mr. Starrett, just to make sure I understand, so in that October, 26 were wanted, 4 of them were arrested. But what I didn't get from you was these folks were, how do we know why they were denied, and how do you know that they were denied an area, and what were those errors specifically? Is that in the information you have?
No, and I think it would be very interesting for you to try to find that information, because we can't. We don't know how many people are prosecuted. What we also can't get from the state police are how many people are denied, which is a vastly larger number than the number of people, people delayed, which is much larger than the number of people denied. Now, obviously, I hear from the people who are delayed and denied with no justification. And I can tell you, I can anecdotally share with you some of the things that have happened to them. But in this situation now, if I go to a gun store and I'm denied in error, and it wouldn't affect me, I've got 3 safes full of guns. But a single mom alone in a rural place who is now facing a predator or a stalker goes to the gun store, gets denied because the state database is faulty, and now I, as a friend or neighbor, can't even lend her the means to protect herself because, yes, supposedly the bill has that safeguard in it if life is in jeopardy. But who proves that? Who demonstrates when that jeopardy is there and when it's not? And I think that what you're doing is creating we talk about protecting women. This bill puts women right in the crosshairs of a faulty system with 0 safeguards for their safety.
And just to
quickly,
and just to make sure that I understand the record correctly, you said that you didn't have the information on specifically why the errors were made, and you're relying on anecdotal information for your testimony today about that these were denied in error.
Well,
go ahead, sorry.
You have the statistics. How many people were investigated and no action was taken? That was 20. How many were referred? How many were citation in lieu of custody? The problem is that no, we can't get from the state police the number of people because there's no resolution. How many people are prosecuted of those 4 people they arrested? How many of those people who are prosecuted are actually convicted of anything? And I would encourage you as legislators to request that information.
Thank you for bearing with me.
I think that's a fair request. Representative Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Starrett, you are exactly correct in the instance that you point out that women can be directly in the crosshairs of this law, because I have been involved several times in my life already giving guns or loaning guns to a woman in danger. and that would this bill would criminalize that kind of activity. To our sheriffs, I commend you and I want to thank you for standing for the Second Amendment rights of your law-abiding citizens. You, being the chief law enforcement officers of your community, obviously have a very important role with your citizens, and on behalf of those law-abiding citizens of yours who do not want to be harassed by legislation like this, I commend you and I thank you.
Representative McLean.
Just to follow up with Mr. Starrett, Representative Rayfield indicated that you only had anecdotal evidence for the wrong denials, but what I heard you say is that there were denials in which the police followed up and then chose not to prosecute. We can assume
Yes.
that they had, therefore, no reasonable basis to issue a citation or make an arrest. Is that true?
That is correct. There are some citation in lieu of custody, but here's 20 that were investigation complete, no action, 5 that were challenged or appealed. But I will tell you, having spoken to state police and having spoken to people who've been denied, that it's an astonishing experience to have. I mean, I know a lady who was denied because someone got a stalking order against her. She immediately had her firearms confiscated by the police. When the stalking order was proven to be false, when she went to court, it took her a month to get her firearms back. But even after her rights were restored, when she attempted to buy a rifle in Bend, this is a 63-year-old woman living alone, she was denied. And she knew what was going to happen. State trooper rolled up. She said, "Here's the paperwork. The court has said I'm allowed to have firearms." The trooper apologized, as they frequently do, and took no action because they knew there was no action to take.
If I may follow up. This probably to Mr. Reed. Would the effect of this